This is Dr. Abby Medcalf, and this tutorial focuses on a new way of thinking so you can have less stress and more happiness in your life starting today. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is thinking you've got 24 hours in a day to get things done. Yeah, I know this way of thinking has been around since at least the 13th century, but it doesn't apply to 21st century life. Instead, I want you to think of your day as being comprised of apps, not hours. Your brain is like your smartphone, and the apps are all the things you have going on in your life. And I mean everything, from your drive to work, to washing your hair, to planning a night out, to what to eat for dinner. And just like your smartphone, these apps are all draining the battery, draining you and your willpower. So when I say apps, I mean the mental energy your brain uses to think things through, worry, and strategize. Some apps don't use much of your battery or your mental energy, but all the things that aren't automatic, that stress you out, cause you anxiety, or make you think, these are all the bigger apps, and they are draining your battery. God forbid you've got even bigger issues like cancer, a kid in drug rehab, debt, or you're afraid you're going to lose your job, because those are some seriously big apps, and they're really going to drain your smartphone, or what I'm talking about here, your brain. A lot of times, we think we've closed the apps, but they're really just running in the background. You know that root canal surgery you've been putting off? That's an app that's open in the background, and you don't even realize it's weighing on you and draining your battery. You know that to-do list you keep writing and rewriting? That's also apps or mental energy being used in the background and again, draining your battery. So everyone has a certain amount of apps they can use in a day. Let's say for the purposes of this discussion that you have 100 apps or 100 units of mental energy that you can use in a day. Now there are some things in your life you don't need to think much about. These are your autopilot items that don't cause you stress. They're still apps, they use energy, but they only use a small amount, and you're able to quit them and not leave them running in the background. So for example, showering isn't something that usually is mentally taxing or that you even have to think much about. So this might be equal to only, let's say, 3 of your 100 daily allotted apps. However, many of your life's activities are not like this. So let's say you're asked to take on a small project at work. The project is only going to take a couple hours to complete. You think, I got a couple hours this week, I can do this. The problem is that this is not a simple hour-to-app ratio because of all the thinking and psychic energy that's going to go into this project. First of all, you now have something new on your plate, and that immediately adds stress and uses more apps. You need to remember to get the project done by Tuesday and coordinate resources, manage your time, you get the idea. You also have your mother calling and asking to speak about something important with you. You need to make that doctor's appointment you've been putting off, and it's your kid's first piano recital this week, and you need to make sure he's practicing and prepared. All of this takes up quite a bit of your mental energy, your mental capacity to get things done. So the 2 hours you might have expended in clock time for this small work project is really equivalent to maybe 50 apps of mental energy and stress for taking on something new that you've never done before and adding it to your already very full plate. Now, add on to this your commute to work, your regular day of getting dressed, feeding yourself and maybe your family, worrying about that gray hair you found this morning, making your bed, and the literally thousands of small decisions you need to make every day. And you're going to realize that those 100 apps get eaten up very quickly. In fact, you might find yourself at home by 7 p.m. working on an app deficit. Now you may be wondering why it's so hard to get yourself to the gym, choose fruit instead of ice cream after dinner, and have the energy for that rock star sex with your partner. Makes sense why you don't have the energy now, doesn't it? Your apps are gone. All those hours you had to, quote-unquote, get everything done are the wrong way to look at your life. Instead, notice how many apps you have opened and how much mental energy you're expending day to day. If you think of your day in apps, not hours, you'll start saying no way more often. It's not, sure I can volunteer at my kid's school, it's only going to take another hour a week. Instead, you need to think, darn, I've got so much going on, I don't have any more apps to expend. When we operate an app deficit, we have symptoms such as depression, anxiety, rage, apathy, and general discontent with our lives. When we operate in app deficit or at our absolute app limit every day, we end up with a drained battery. You can't expect to have exceptional relationships with yourself or anyone else on a drained battery. So, starting today, count your apps, not your hours.